What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to talk about basic throwing mechanics in NCAA Football 06. Our first two videos of the series, we talked about various defensive topics, how to read man or zone after the huddle, how to read basic defensive coverages, and now you're technically ready to throw the football. But before we start breaking down individual routes and how they work against certain coverages, we need to learn how to throw the football, and that's what this video is going to cover today. Now, before we get into that, on the bottom right of the screen, I have a gamepad viewer. It shows you which buttons I am pressing and how hard I am pressing those. So make sure you pay attention to that when I'm throwing certain passes, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about are the basic three throws in the game. You got a lob pass, a normal pass, and a bullet pass. And it all depends on how hard you are pressing a button, okay? The first thing we're going to do is the lob pass. Now, pay attention to my quarterback's feet. I highly suggest you have them set before you throw it. It's just more accuracy that way. So let's go ahead and snap the ball. I'm just going to throw it to a go route. I'm barely tapping the button, barely pressing it. It's going to throw it as high as he can. Now, that's a go route. It's going to require a really high lob. You could do the same thing over to this corner route if you wanted, something like this, but I'm just barely tapping the button, okay? We'll do it one more time. Again, my feet are set. I'm not moving the joystick, and I'm just throwing it as high as I can for a lob pass. The next one we're going to do is a basic normal pass, a little bit harder of a button press. We're going to go back to this corner. We're going to let him make his break, and I'm just going to press the button pretty solid, but I'm not holding down the button either. Okay, I just notice at the gamepad viewer how hard I'm hitting that button. Just a little bit harder, and as you can tell, the velocity of that throw is a little bit shorter. If we get over to this flare route, that's a pretty good one for a basic press of the button. Something like this, and you're off to the races, okay? Now, the third one is the bullet pass. You're going to use this one more often than any other. A lot of routes require a bullet pass, and you're just going to hold down the button. So we're going to go over to the zig route. I'm just going to hold down the button. Notice I'm still holding it down. Sometimes I'll still hold it, even with the CPU controlling my receiver going in for the end zone. That's happened several times. It just depends on the situation. The key here, get your feet set, hold down the button. Hold it until you feel like you got to control them and do whatever you got to do. So we're going to do this one more time. Let's go to the tight end. Hold down the button and let him go to work, okay? You can also put a little English on your throws. In order to do that, you got to use your joystick to do this. So in order to do this, and I don't use this often, but I want to mention it anyways, is we're going to go back to that go route on the left side. I'm going to have him throw as hard or as far as he can. We're going to use his joystick. Watch my joystick. I'm still holding it up, trying to get as far as I can. Now, a lot of this English stuff depends on the accuracy of your quarterback. We can do the same thing over here. I'm still holding it. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it doesn't. I suggest you focus on making solid throws before you ever start doing English or putting English on the throws. It's just something to think about. Another thing we're going to talk about is throwing on the run. You got to put a little less oomph in your throw when you're doing this. For example, let's go back to this corner route, and I'm on the run, and if I throw it as hard as I can, yes, you can make a decent throw, but sometimes, depending on your quarterback, it's going to be a really bad throw. Like, he's going to throw it way out like that. Notice with my right joystick, I'm still on the move. We can go back and look at this. Look at my quarterback. I'm throwing on the run. Do not throw a bullet pass in this situation unless your quarterback can really make that kind of throw. Just something to think about. I suggest you just put a little less pressure on the throw, and you may have a better chance of making a better throw. So that's just something to think about. Otherwise, just try your best to keep your feet set when you throw the ball. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about are two extra mechanics. One is the pump fake. We're going to go over to practice type, or we're going to go to off pass skeleton. That way we can see the defense. And we're going to go ahead and select tight end dig again. We'll go up against a random play from that formation. Okay, now pumping the ball, a pump fake is R2. Okay, now that's your camera. That does help. We'll talk about in a later video how to use some of that. But when we snap the ball, we're going to hit that button. Did anybody bite on the fake? I didn't see it. I'll go ahead and tell you now that 06, the pump fake just isn't super effective. I rarely see players or defenders bite on the fake. We can try it again. I just don't see anybody biting on it whatsoever. That may be like on All-American level. You may see that more often. But in this high level, You're just not going to see it as often. That's why you just rarely ever see me do a pump fake. We can try it one more time to see. Nope, nobody bit on it. And you really want your safeties to bite on it, either them or the corners. Just something to think about. But it is there if you want to use it. But again, I don't use it often because I just don't see it being very effective in this game. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is throwing the ball away. Now, we're going to go back to practice strategy. We're going to go to, or practice type. We're going to go to normal. And I want to see the offensive line. We're going to go tight end dig, and we'll go against random. If throwing the ball away is L2, throw the ball away, but you got to get outside the tackle box. I'm going to stay inside the tackle box, and that's what happens. Intentional grounding. You do not want that whatsoever. You got to get outside that tackle box in order to throw the ball away. Something like that. Whenever you're feeling the heat, you got no choice but to throw the ball away. There's nothing wrong with playing on the next down. Yes, you could be a hero and try to make a play, or you could just try to throw the ball away and live to see another down. Okay, nobody's open, throw it away. Okay, so those are the basic mechanics. I think I've covered all the main ones on here. Our next couple of videos are going to be really fun. We're going to break down specific man routes and specific zone routes. And once we get all that information, we can combine some of that, look at some different combinations, route combos, and then we can really have some fun on the passing side of things. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.